Trying to score from the plug today, I sure could use a shot. Xannies are helping, but I need more. Guess I'll smoke some pot. I'm about to go insane. Sometimes I need to go where everybody does cocaine. And we always find a vein. I wanna fix and do some blow. The troubles will go away. I wanna be where everybody does cocaine. You shoot your dope, I'll smoke some crack. Junkies are all the same. I wanna be where everybody does cocaine.
And I'm gonna sing a song for you.
Damn, Chris gonna show you a thing or two.
You'll have some fun now with me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing. Na, 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 gonna have a good time. Hey, hey. Na, 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 gonna have a good time.
Danny Chris coming at you with music and fun. If you're not careful, you might learn something before it's done.
Hey, hey, hey!
This episode of Dopey is brought to you by our very good friends at Oro Recovery, located in sunny Southern California. Created by Bob Forrest and his friends, Evan, Jared, and Bob. Their mission, to create a treatment that uses connection and compassion rather than control to help an alcoholic or a drug addict achieve sobriety. From what we understand, they do a good job. Everybody that we know that has been there has only said good things. They have decades of experience in treating co-occurring mental health disorders, including SMI. They have amenities you wouldn't believe. Fucking equine therapy, sound bath meditation, the potentially spiritually transformative sweat lodge. Everything I know about Oro says it's amazing. If you're fucked and you're willing to go to sunny Southern California to get help, go. Go to ororecovery.com. Check it out now. This episode of Dopey is also brought to you by our very good friends at Sober Buddy. What is Sober Buddy? Sober Buddy is an app on your phone to help you get and stay sober, but it is so much more. It is a community. It is, I think, 7 Zooms a week now, maybe 8. They talk about topics like we talk about topics, drugs, addiction, and dumb shit, because I do Sober Buddy Zoom on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Their app has really, really been developed a lot. They have a sort of social media style feed where people check in with their status and with ideas and seeking help. They have communities around a million different topics, from LGBTQ to relapse to alcoholism to sobriety for men, women, you name it. Check them out at yoursoberbuddy.com. It's available at the App Store and the Google Play Store. They have a free trial. Sign up, come to our Zoom, and check out Sober Buddy. This episode of Dopey is also brought to you by our very good friends at Sober Link. We need to talk about alcohol recovery in the workplace. Talking about sobriety and proving it to your employer can be so difficult, and our friends at SoberLink want to help. If you need a reliable way to present documented proof of sobriety to a boss or loved one, SoberLink can help. SoberLink is a high-tech portable breathalyzer system that uses facial recognition technology to verify identity. It has unique sensors to ensure that no other air sources are being used and sends results directly to your specified contacts, so there's no questioning whether or not you took the test and whether or not you altered their reporting. This is why SoberLink's remote alcohol monitoring system is considered the gold standard. Being in recovery from alcohol does not define the future of your career. Let SoberLink help. Learn more about SoberLink and request an exclusive $50 off promo code by visiting soberlink.com/dopey. That's www.soberlink.com/dopey. So hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and other dumb shit. My name is Dave. I'm at home. I'm in the dining room. My legs are stretched. It's raining. Winnie's sleeping on the couch. She stinks. Life is good, I have to say. I have to watch it because people get annoyed when I say I'm doing good, which is fair enough because I get annoyed when I hear about other people doing good. Look for it soon on Patreon. We're going to have a show on Patreon. We're going to have another Raytreon show on Patreon, which is, of course, with Ray. The new Patreon show we're working on is the Hatreon show, where we're just going to talk about things we hate. So look forward to the Hatreon show coming soon to Patreon. Also coming soon to Patreon, we have little bits and pieces from the show that we cut out of the show. So look for a Fentanyl J story that he didn't tell on the New Year's show, and look for new clips on Patreon, sneak, never before seen or heard bits of the show. So that's exciting, exclusive material. And of course, with Patreon, you pay, it's sad that I have a $2 tier. I think I'm going to eliminate the $2 tier. So let's say we have a $5 tier, and and if you want to give two. But the $5 tier is you come to the Patreon Zoom once a month, usually the last Saturday of every month, which is a lot of fun. You can win prizes, talk to dopes, which you can do anyway, but we have fun, hang out. You also, for the $10 tier, you get stickers, tons of stickers. For the $15 tier, you get socks and stickers. But most importantly, there's content. We're putting out videos. We're putting out audio. There will be incredible new Patreon stuff coming out soon. Go to www.patreon.com to support the show. So if you're looking for a way to support the show, you can do it like that. Also, $15 members of the Patreon world could get a giant Dopey candle instead of socks. It's your choice. I'm extremely excited about today's show, I have to say. We have a Dopey legend who's not like a cultural Dopey legend, but he's actually a legend in the world of Dopey, in the doposphere, if you will. He's a New York City graffiti legend, but he's a Dopey legend because me and him were connected. And I'm going to let you hear his story when he comes on. But just be excited. This is a Dopey gem, if I do say so myself. The Dopey hotline is out there. I haven't been pushing it. It's 631-699-5142. If you call the hotline and you want to leave a voicemail there, it's only a 30-second time limit. If you want to do a proper Dopey story, just record it on your phone and send it to dopeypodcast@gmail.com. The winner gets socks or maybe even a candle. This person right here definitely gets a candle or socks, whatever they want. This is like one of my favorite email voicemails I've ever gotten. It is from a woman named Sally, and she writes, "Yo, Dave, I just want to send a quick note of deep appreciation for the work you do for our community. I fucking love Dopey Podcast to an embarrassing degree. It's super weird to adore a family, Linda is the shit, and a whole nation of people that don't know I exist. But here we are. I started listening a few years ago and would listen here and there and thought the podcast was stellar. But it kind of just stayed woven among the threads of my daily listens of music and speaker tapes and other less amazing podcasts. One day I decided to give it a listen from episode 1, and holy fuck, my whole life changed. Dramatic? Totally. But for real, I literally couldn't stop listening from that moment on. I tried to explain the addiction to the addiction podcast to my husband, also in recovery, but just can't get it for some reason, by saying it kind of felt like I was just hanging with my homies. He said I must have had assholes for homies when I was using. Ha ha ha. Nah, but really, I love the way you and Chris related. Hard truths, no sugar coatings. anything. Tough love, you know? I miss that fucking guy. Anyway, I just wanted to send in a voicemail for a while, and I decided to get it done today. I haven't listened back to myself, so it's probably low quality dopey. But if you like it, play it. If not, no harm done. I guess it just makes me feel better to put my name out there a little, so the friendship we have in my mind is a little less one-sided. Ha ha ha. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris. XO Sally. And here's Sally's voicemail. Thank you, Sally. Here's the voicemail.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Dopey Nation. My name is Sally. I'm in North Carolina. I don't know, been thinking about sending in a voice memo for a long time, but have never gotten around to it. So here I am. Just wanted to give a fucking shout out, man, to, I guess, the Dopey Nation, because I just realized, like, how fucking weird I felt to love Dopey so deeply. And I'm finding out that I am not the only fucking weirdo, man. It's crazy because, like, you know, there was, like, almost some shame attached or something that was, like, similar to, like, hiding in my addiction, but I was a little bit more vocal about it, and so I'm finding out that, yeah, we weirdos stand together, dude. So deeply appreciate this community of fucking strangers. Yeah, anyways, I thought maybe, I'm going to try to make this quick. Okay, I wanted to hit you with a little bit of Dopey. Yeah, I've been clean for a little while, but man, since 2016, but I used to just get so fucking stupid. I was an addict to just more, is what I hear a lot. My drug of choice was more, but definitely fucking loved uppers, loved alcohol, loved meth, loved coke. Anyway, so one time I was in high school and I had transferred schools and I hadn't made all of my credits that were required. I went from this private school to a public school, and we didn't have shit like health education in private school. We didn't have sex ed and shit like that. And so I had to do this sex ed class with like all these freshmen when I was a senior to complete my credits to be able to graduate. And one of the things was those new robot dolls. And you like had to take the robot doll home and they would cry and you would have to like put a bottle to them, or they would like fuss and you would have to, you like put this key in their back that was like supposed to, you know, represent, you know, comforting them or whatever. And the keys were very specific to the doll. So one time, I had to take this doll home for the whole fucking week. And, you know, or like weekend, whatever, a couple of days. So I went to this party and I smoked a bunch of crack. And I was fucking so high carrying this fucking robot doll around. And, of course, it started crying. And I had this key on my wrist. And I just, like, kept shoving the key in the back. And it wouldn't stop. And it kept screaming and it kept crying. And I was, like, trying to shake it. I'm, like, sitting in this fucking party high out of my mind trying to calm down this robot. And so I finally go home. My parents wake up and I'm fucking just yammering. My mouth is going crazy and I'm geeking out. Like, I can't fucking calm this doll down. So I had to call my substitute teacher at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning. And she told me how to kill my robot. She told me how to stop. And anyway, I ended up, it was like somehow I had switched a key. I don't even know. It's a fucking mystery. I didn't have the right key. And so, yeah, I had to kill my robot when I was high on crack, and I still got a C. And that was my story. Anyway, man, I don't know. You can play it, you don't have to, but I fucking love Dopey, and I appreciate the whole nation. And I'm one of those freaks that got into it late, but listened from the beginning. So my heart broke really recently for Chris and for you and for the whole fucking universe, dude. He was special. But you are too. The whole nation is. Real happy to be a part of it. Thanks so much. And stay strong. Fucking toodles.
Sally, you got it done. Anybody who heard that email, voicemail, that's how you get it done. A little praise for Dopey. Fucking killer Dopey story. Robot crack baby. So good. And I appreciate you understand what we're trying to do. This is a show by weirdos for weirdos. So thank you, Sally. And fucking write me. You get socks or you get a candle. Your choice. Write me at dopeypodcast@gmail.com. Anybody who wants to get a voicemail or an email on the show, write me at dopeypodcast@gmail.com. And Sally, do you go to Dopey Nation Zooms? You should go to Dopey Nation Zooms, right? Fucking see the Dopey Nation. Be a part of the Dopey Nation. Everything is posted on Instagram, but hold on. Let me get you the thingamajig. Hold on. Where's the address? What is the address of the Dopey Nation Zoom? Jesus fucking Christ. All right. The Zoom address is 804-300-586, and the password is Toodles, all in lowercase. Sally, check it out. They would love to meet you. Now, this extremely special episode of Dopey is brought to you by BetterHelp. When do you feel like you're at your best? I think I'm at my best when I do Dopey. Maybe when I'm with my kids. When I walk the dog, I feel pretty empowered. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of yourself. Because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. Yeah, I'm really, really right there when I make the show, I'm walking the dog, or I'm parenting. But I often slip up, I make the wrong decision, and with a therapist, I can go over the situation and fine-tune so I can be the best version of myself. And if you want to be the best version of yourself and you're considering giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It is convenient, it's flexible, affordable, and it's entirely online. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. It's true. Visit betterhelp.com/dopeypodcast today and you get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/dopeypodcast. Get help, get better help, get it now. And now, this guy is pure fire Dopey. Anybody who's a fan of the show is going to appreciate our next guest. You can find him on Instagram as Optimo. He wanted me to call him Sayno. He's a Dopey. He's an important figure in the mythology of Dopey. So here he is, Sayno. His name is Optimo. He's a really, really brilliant artist. You're a really brilliant artist, Optimo.
Thank you.
I see your stuff everywhere. And like, I want you to first tell the story of how we reconnected from your point of view.
So I was, let me see, what year was it?
Last year.
It was last year, 2021?
Like February or something.
So I was working on a mural on 7th Avenue in Chelsea on exactly 22nd Street and 7th Avenue. I was working on the We Love Chelsea mural that I got the chance to do, which was one of my favorite projects that I've done so far, murals in New York. I was working on that mural and someone said, "Excuse me," and I turned around.
But it's COVID, so we're both wearing masks.
So I'm wearing, I always wear, I try to wear a mask when I paint. And at that time, I wasn't like showing my face like on the internet or anything. I was kind of keeping it low because I was like heavily painting, which I'm still heavily painting, but now I just don't care. But at the time, I was covering my face because I didn't want anyone to take random photos of me painting that mural. And you came up behind me, and I turned around and I'm like, "What's up?" And you was like, "Hey, man, my name is Dave, and I have a podcast, Dopey Podcast, and I'm looking for someone to paint a mural, and like, as you were saying this, and I was like, damn, I recognize this dude's voice, man, like, and I was like, wait, what'd you say your name was? And he was like, my name is Dave, and like, I remember your voice, like, clear as day. I was like, dude, and I took off my mask. And I felt like I saw a ghost because when you took your mask, I was like, take off your mask. And you took your mask off. And I felt like I saw a ghost because really, in my head for the past, since 2008, I'd say, no, 2007, 6,
Dude,
8.
2001.
No.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, in 2006, I think 2006, I thought that you died.
What happened in 2006?
One day I was walking towards your building I was just walking towards 8th Avenue, and I was walking on the side of your building. I'm not going to say exactly what street, but in Chelsea. I saw like your stuff. I know it was your stuff being thrown in the dumpsters because I knew the paintings that you used to have in your house. Like that's something I always paid attention to.
My weird shipyard
You
paintings?
had some cool paintings, like some jazz players.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I was just like, damn, that looks like Dave's stuff, like his art. And then I asked the porter, and I was like, hey, Poppy. I was like, what happened to the guy whose place this stuff belongs to? They're like, oh, man, he passed away. He died. And I was like, he died? And I was just like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, man, he died, drugs. And I was just like, whoa. And I was kind of like, fuck. So I had called my boy Swerve and my boy Doug, and I was like, yo, this dude Slam fucking died. You know what I'm saying? And we used to call you Slam.
The funny thing about that is I always thought you guys called me Slam because I shot heroin, but that wasn't why you called me Slam.
Nah. So I had called my boys right there on the spot, and I was like, yo, fucking, your man Slam died, man. I was like, damn, it's fucking sad. And they were like, nah. And I had took one of the paintings, like one of the jazz players. I got pictures somewhere in my archives.
Nice.
Of that painting in my crib. I don't have it no longer because I lost all my shit.
But that's nice. That's sentimental, right?
Yeah. So back to why we used to call you Slam. So this is how me and Dave met.
Yeah, tell me how we met.
So my boy had a crib in your building. He was your neighbor. And that was like the bachelor pad. We used to always go to his crib.
He lived there and I lived there.
Yes.
He didn't have any family. He had no
No.
family. I had no family.
You guys lived directly across from each other.
Yeah.
Apartments facing each
It
other.
was like a sitcom.
And my boy's crib was like the bachelor crib. Like that's where we used to go, and always like take girls, random girls, like we'll go there. That was like not the trap house, because it wasn't a trap house. Doug didn't want like no shit going on in his crib. It was like, all right, you can bring girls here, handle your shit,
right,
and dip, and that was what his crib was for. He had 2 cribs, so that was like the one crib that we bought shorties to or whatever, and we would handle our business there too. But granted, we used to hear the door slam,
loud, right?
Real loud, like bam, bam, and
because I always had my windows open.
I was like, yo, who the fuck is that? And then my boy was like, nah, bro, it's my fucking neighbor, bro. It's this fucking white kid. Fucking always slamming the door. So like every time, I guess like, times passing by, like we're going to the crib and just hear slam. So I was like, that's your man Slam. The boys. So I remember one day I was coming to the crib, right? Like,
this is great, by the way. You have a good memory. Yeah. I don't.
I remember I was coming to the crib, and you was coming out the crib, and I was like, "Oh, this is the motherfucking, this Slam." you was like, hey man, what's up? Like, you know, you had your, you was very bright eyed, like, and kind of like, hey, how are you? Like, and I was like, what's up, bro? I was like, what's your name? He was like, I'm Dave. He's like, what's your name? Like, you know, that was you, all perky and shit. I was
chilling,
like, you know, I was like, I'm blah, 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 you know, what my name was. We just talked for a second and I was like, yo, you asked me, yo, you want to come inside my place? And I was like, what? I was like, you smoke bud? And he was like, yeah, I smoke bud time to time. And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, like, customer, bling, cha-ching, cha-ching, like, because I was always in hustle mode. So I go inside and you're like kicking it with me for a second. And then you was like, yo, man, you want to see some of my tapes? Like, and I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I used to be a VJ. Like, I don't know if it was MTV.
No, it was some bullshit. Yeah.
But it was something. And you saw me an interview with you and KRS-One, I think.
Yeah.
And somebody else. And I was like, oh, shit. This dude got some clout. All right. You know? So whatever, we exchanged numbers. And I don't know, you know, how many times we had like linked up. But
did I buy bud? Was I buying bud or no?
I told you if you ever want bud, like to hit me up. I didn't want to like, you know, tell you I have other shit because it was like too close for comfort. Like, I was like right next door and I didn't want to blow up my boy's shit.
And you didn't know that I was doing drugs?
No. I think I realized that you use drugs. Like I saw it in your eyes. Like you had like pin drop eye. Like you had pinpoint looking eyes. So I was like, he does something. I just, you know, I didn't really call it like that. But I didn't sell what you was fucking with anyway. So
was I buying bud from you?
I don't know if honestly, man, I don't remember. Because it's that long ago. I know it was like, I know I told you I have different shit later on. Like we met up.
So let's get. Do you remember when it got to that level of relationship?
I remember one day I was looking for somewhere to stash my shit. Like I was looking for a stash crib because I didn't want to keep it in the projects. You know, the projects is right down the block.
And Doug didn't want it.
And my boy didn't want my shit in his crib.
So how did it come up that it should be in my house?
So one day I was like, you know, let me ask this dude. He seems pretty cool and doesn't seem grimy. I was like, yo, man, you know, would you be down to like stash my shit in your crib? Like I'll bring a safe, you know, and like I'll pay you like $100 a week or whatever, you know, and I'll throw you some bud or something, you know, and whatever, you know. But you said that I used to sell you shit. I don't remember ever selling you drugs.
I think you just gave it to me, and I
don't even remember.
But the only reason I remember, is two reasons. Number one, I think you had ecstasy, and you had coke. Yeah. And I never would be fucking taking ecstasy by myself unless I just had it.
Yeah.
And I never would be, and I never bought coke.
Yeah.
And I knew in that era, like that was like the last era of my life in Manhattan. I shot a bunch of coke and I tripped ecstasy by myself. Yeah. And I remember also thinking it was so great that I could do that because I had your safe in my house. So that's how I connected those dots.
But the thing is, I didn't leave a key with you. Like, cause I
think you just took, I didn't go in your safe. I think you just
I would go inside, I'll grab my shit. But it wasn't a long period. I know that. It was like a short period.
No, because I didn't stay much longer. That was a really crazy period for me because I had other weird dealers like staying with me. Yeah. And I had a lot of methadone people just kind of hanging out. Yeah. It was like I like that I was so perky in your memory. Yeah. I never see myself that way, but I'm totally like that.
So I remember one day.
This is the sad story.
So one day you gave me the keys to your crib actually.
So you had your drugs there. You needed the keys.
I had a copy of your keys. So one day I opened the door and I see your father standing there. Like, and he looks at me and goes, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Hey." I was like,
we should call my dad in right now. Hold on, real quick.
No, I don't think he's like
Dad, it'll be funny.
Is he gonna even remember?
I don't know. That'll be fun. Dad, hello? He loves being on the show. All right, so Optimo is sharing the story of he had a key to my apartment on 24th Street. He came in. He says, you were in the apartment. Do you have any recollection?
No.
Because he was traumatized. Optimo, tell him what happened.
Okay, so Dave's dad was standing there when I opened the door. He's like, who are you? And I looked at him and I was like, I'm Dave's friend. And he was like, do you know that Dave is on drugs? I remember you saying that. And I was like, no, I didn't know. I knew he was on drugs, but I feel like I wasn't the one selling you the drugs. Like
Did you know I was on heroin?
I didn't know you was on heroin. I knew you was on something, but I just didn't know you was on heroin. Nor did I want to give you drugs because I didn't want you stealing my shit.
That's fair enough. But hold up, Dad. You have no recollection of this man then?
I was cleaning out the apartment. I was probably trying to get rid of that fish tank and take the fish to the fish store to save his life.
Yeah.
He's told the story on the show that many times that went, and it was the same day. So there's a lot of mythology about this.
I remember you cleaning up, and you was like, "Can you help me clean up?"
Yes.
And
probably,
I was like,
I needed a lot of help.
And I was like, yeah, I can help you out, but in my mind, I was like, fuck, man, like if this guy finds out that I got drugs in this house, man, like he's gonna call the cops. So
he looks like somebody that might call the cops too, right?
I started helping him clean up a bit, right? And then I snuck off. I think that the stash was in the kitchen. I took a blanket or something, a towel,
some old blanket,
and I threw it over the safe, and I just like snuck out, and I went next door to my friend's house, opened his door, and just put it in there. I was like, I need you to hold this until like I get my shit situated. Like, I just need to get out of here. And then I dipped. That was it.
And you have no recollection?
I was very busy. I'm telling you, the house was a mess.
But the house
busy.
It looked like a train wreck hit it. And I remember I used to tell Dave, I used to be like, yo, why don't you clean your place up? You got your own place. Like, you're a grown man.
Well, the story that he always tells is that day that he was cleaning it up, he pricked his finger on a needle.
Oh, shit.
And he was sure he got AIDS from... Right, Dan?
Oh my God!
Yeah, I was upset. I mean, I tried to keep it from mommy, but I said, yeah, I got stuck by this needle.
Wow.
Anyway,
and look, now here we all are, so many years later, laughing about what a fun memory it was.
I'm not laughing about a fun memory. No, Dopey Nation. No, I'm not laughing.
It wasn't fun.
All right, Dad. Thank you. And,
All right.
Listen, I think it's incredible. First of all, that we stumbled upon each other. Number two. Like I said to start this thing, your work is incredible, and you are ubiquitous in Manhattan, which means you are everywhere.
Yeah,
fucking hell, it's crazy. Yeah. And when you said to me on the street was, you said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from here." And you said, "From where? From here?" I said, "Well, I live on the Lower East Side." And you were like, "Do you ever live in the projects?" And you were like, "Take your mask off." And I was like,
I didn't remember exactly what I said.
It was so fucking amazing because that story in my head of that era was so big.
Yeah.
So like the fact that we could see, and then you came to DopeyCon, and and when did you start painting? But when did you start dealing first?
Oh, I started selling drugs when I was like 12, 13.
And you live Chelsea Projects.
I live in Chelsea Projects. I grew up on 26th Street. I think, trying to think the first time I sold drugs was, we all went to junior high school, I-70 on 17th Street, right? One of my boys, he had met this girl from the Lower East Side, and she had a brother that was like an older drug dealer at the time. He had like a block on, I think it was like 13th Street between First and A or something like that. There was like a basketball court there, I remember. But my boy was like, yo, this girl, she could put us on to making money out in Lower. And then, our parents won't see us selling drugs on the block in Chelsea, So, and he was like, yo, we get paid $20 for every $100 we make. And I was like, at that time, 1990, that was, $20 per pack. And when I tell you that these packs was going fast.
You were a kid.
And we were kids. Those packs was going fast. Like, people would be like, let me get 5, let me get 7, let me get 10. And these are dimes. They were going like this.
But
so
weed, right?
Huh? No, crack.
Okay, so you're selling crack.
I was 12 years old.
And who's buying crack most?
Oh, older crackheads,
Older crackheads.
Crackheads.
Yes.
They look like fucking zombies.
Was it scary?
It was scary because I used to feel like they would try to do anything to try to like say when you pull out your stash, they would try to like grab and you're a little kid.
They're trying to get
You're not
over
a grown ass
right.
man. You're a little kid selling crack to adults that will try to rob you. So it was like they fiend out. You're a little kid, so you had to act like extra tough. Have a knife on you or whatever.
It's not like selling weed to me and
no,
here.
No, it's not peaceful. Like, and I remember we used to always try to figure out ways to stash our shit that we wouldn't get caught. I don't know what made me think, I was like, I put mine in a Magnum marker, like a big fat Magnum marker, where I used to keep all my cracks, you know, the vials inside. And the vials was big. It wasn't like when everybody got a little smarter to the game and started selling the little baggies with crack in it, because then you could stash them easier.
But they were
back.
big.
It used to be big ass vials because the vials used to make the crack look bigger.
Right.
So it was like an illusion. You got the illusion crack vials, and they make it look like there's more than what there really was inside.
What do you do? What do you do as a kid? Like if you, it's like, how do people not steal from you, get over if they're adults?
I mean, we was what, like, it was like 5 of us standing together. You know, we weren't standing on the corner by ourselves. We were like all in the park pretending we're playing basketball, and the crackheads will come in, and we would just look at them and be like, all right. And then we'll each take turns serving the crackheads coming into the park.
What were you about to say?
Oh, well, I remember, you know, one time I dropped the marker, and the crackhead tried to grab the marker, and I, like, you know, I stomped his hands, you know, like, that was the type of shit, you know, you had to be careful from. But I never had no police fuck with me when I sold over there, but for some reason, I just didn't feel safe over there. I was like, after a while, I started feeling like, yo, you know what? Like, this is not our block. Like, these people, we didn't grow up with these people. Like, I think we should make smarter moves. Like, if we're going to sell drugs, like, it shouldn't be somewhere where we're not from. You know, and I know I didn't want to sell on the block because, like, you know, my mom, her friends, people, everyone talks. You know, once you're selling drugs on the block, your parents are going to find out, without a doubt, because the projects has eyes.
Like over here, you're talking
eyes.
About. Right.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
I mean, I ended up selling little drugs here and there, like on the block, but I wouldn't do it full time. Like, there was like some kids that would sell drugs all the time. Like, I was one of those that, like, I'll sell a couple of packs. I'll be good with, like, you know, $100 in my pocket for the week or whatever. But because I used to do other shit, I used to go stealing. I used to sell bud on the side downtown the village. Like, we'll buy nicks from uptown and then sell them for $20 downtown. That was before, you know, we were buying ounces and all that shit. We would just go buy bags.
Like in Washington Heights.
We'll go to Washington Heights,
buy the fat nickel
bags, and then sell them for $20 to white people downtown in downtown Manhattan.
They had nice bud though in Washington.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like,
it's funny though. It's like everybody went there.
Dude, we used to buy nicks from uptown and go to Jersey and sell to kids out there for $20 for the nicks. You know, that's how fat the bags were back in those days. You know?
I used to go from, I went to college in Westchester and Purchase, and we would drive to 189th and St. Nick and buy those $5 bags.
Yeah.
And they were fucking beautiful. The bud was beautiful. It was a crazy fat count. It was like, I don't even know how we stumbled on it. Like, it's just a great, great fucking resource. So, like, when do you start using?
Well, I mean, I have like a drug history. It's just like kind of like sporadic throughout my life. Like, it was never just like a 10 years straight. Like, it was always like when I was 14. Well, I smoked bud for the first time when I was like 12, 13. And then when I was, you know, I was already drinking beers. When I was like 14, me and my friends, my sister was taking acid, and we stole acid from my sister, right? And we didn't know what acid was. We thought that acid just makes you laugh.
Right. Sometimes it does.
Because there was a thing called laughing tabs. I don't know if you ever heard of those.
No, tell me.
I don't even know I still don't know what the fuck they are. But I've heard there's like the myth that it just makes you laugh. I didn't hear anything about seeing shit, thinking
bugging
crazy,
out.
just bugging out.
Right.
I thought it was like Batman and Robin shit, like laughing gas, laughing
like the Joker.
Like the Joker.
Right, right.
That's exact. Right. The Joker comes to mind when I think of that, like the laughing gas. So,
but I get that. As a kid, if you get the right dose and you're just fucking laughing, if nothing horrible happens.
Yeah. So I was like, yo, those are laughing tabs. Like, let's all take them. You know, I thought it was a great idea. Was steal them from my sister and fucking split them up and take them. Now, we didn't know, you take a little piece. Like, we was just like taking strips. Like, oh, the more you take, the more you're gonna laugh. We want to fucking laugh, like, you know, a lot. So we all took the acid. My sister saw me drinking it out of the faucet, drinking, you know, washing it down. And she was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, chill. Like, and she was like, spit it out. And she was trying to make me spit it out.
Because she was worried you took
too much. I wish that I would have fucking spit it out. Like,
the second that shit hits your tongue, you're fucked.
To this day, if I can turn back and spit that shit out, I would have.
What happened?
Oh, it fucking, like, we went to the store to go get some blunts, like, you know, some blunts to roll the weed in. and we fucking, we come back. By the time we're walking back from the store, that's when like it didn't hit me yet. My boy was like, yo, the fucking street is waving like a wave. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, yo, man, I fucking see the street waving like a, up and down. And I was like, nah, I don't see that. And then my other boy was like, yo, the fucking leaves are talking. And I was like, what? I was like, yo, y'all fucking bugging.
Too much laughing taps.
And yeah, tell me. And then we go upstairs to this girl Debbie's house, right? It's my sister's friend Debbie. We sit down on the couch, we start smoking bud, and I was like, yo, I feel like really good, and I was feeling really good at that moment, and I started seeing shit like Sip was feeling kind of wavy, and it was feeling cool, right? And then, like, I started feeling like things started turning real sharp, and that's when, like, it just started fucking getting sharper and sharper, and everything started turning evil looking and metallic and just sharp, and everything was edgy. And I started seeing, like, dude, talking about it makes me feel that.
Right.
I could feel like
you could feel that acid under your skin.
Mild fucking flashback.
I know what you mean.
And it's like I get kaleidoscope eyes, but bad, because I feel like I'm trapped inside the kaleidoscope, and like I get this circular staircase of visuals, but like I also feel like I'm trapped in it. So my body's feeling like it's moving with this like circular staircase.
Now you're bugging me out.
And actually, no, it's what's crazy is I've applied that to my art. Like there's a lot of there's some stuff that
I see that, like that Cubist style shit.
It's like almost like cube, wavy. I don't know if you'll see it in my flags, like when I paint my my scarves, like that waviness of the scarves, and it's kind of like 3-dimensional. That comes from kind of
that experience,
the acid flip, that flashback.
Now, did you wind up, was that the last time you took a dose, or you took it again?
No, so I never took acid again.
Wow.
I probably took stuff that was laced with acid, like, ecstasy that has like acid in it, like, trippy ecstasy. I definitely took mescaline. But anyway, let's go back to the acid real quick. From that trip, like, we all bugged out. All of us lost our shit. I ended up in Bellevue. Like, my friends couldn't handle me, so they took me home.
What made them take you to Bellevue?
Well, my friends took me home first. They were like, tricked me into going to my house. Like, they were like, yo, we're going to go to blah, 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 someone's house. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm with a bunch of girls from my neighborhood. It was like, they were all like kind of like holding me down. And then we get to my door, and I looked and I saw it was my door, and I was like, fuck, I don't want my parents to know that I'm on drugs. So they took me to my door, and my mom answered the door, and she was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, he got drugged, and he's like losing it. So
your daughter drugged him with some laughing tabs.
No, my sister's name was not even in the picture, dude. Right. So they kind of like went to drag me in, and I was like, trying to fight them from going into my own house, because I didn't want my mother like seeing me like that. And then my mother like grabbed me, and my father came, and he was like, what's the matter? My father was like very hard to communicate with, but he saw something was wrong. And I remember like they were like, put him in the shower under the water, and like my father was grabbing me, and I was like trying to fight him from going to the bathroom. And they put me in the bathroom, and they turned the shower on, and like just kind of trying to wake.
Which is never going to make you feel better.
No, it did not make anything better. They put me in the shower with all my clothes on.
Mm.
I mean, at least that's what I remember. Like all my clothes on in the shower, both parents. I'm screaming, like trying to scratch, like bite my dad, right? And then I was like, I want orange juice. I was thirsty, but I wanted orange juice. I told my mother, give me orange juice.
It's funny because orange juice
makes it worse.
Yeah. It makes it heavier.
And so I'm drinking the orange juice, and then I remember pouring the orange juice carton on the top of my head. And then I grabbed it.
How old were you?
I was 14.
Yeah.
They called the ambulance to come help me, my parents. And the police came. When I saw the police, I really fucking started bugging out. I thought I was getting arrested. So the cops take me, and my mother was with them too, and they took me straight to Bellevue.
And you don't want to go to Bellevue.
And I remember going to Bellevue, and I remember like sitting, like they tied me to the bed, right? And they made me drink charcoal, liquid charcoal.
Right.
Black. I just remember it being black. And I remember like the nurses was talking in French. Like everyone was talking backwards. People were walking backwards. I saw my mom sinking into the fucking corner of the room. Like shit was crazy.
I wonder how much you took.
Yeah, I enough to fucking make me bug out for 3 months. Like
3 months.
So for 3 months, I was like, it was getting milder, as time passed by. But it took about 3 months for it to completely get out of my system.
How long did you stay in Bellevue?
I don't even remember. Maybe a couple nights or something like that. I don't. It was so long ago that I don't remember.
Psychedelic destruction, right?
Yeah.
Psychedelic. That's like
was
big,
bad.
total psychedelic distraughtness.
Yeah. So I remember being punished for the whole summer. Like I was not allowed to go out that was my punishment. You can't go out for the whole summer. Finally, when school started, I was allowed to go to school, but I was still kind of mildly, still had that kind of thing. And I remember everybody looking at me, feeling mad weird at school. Like, I was feeling like people were talking about me and shit, and it slowly went away finally. And I remember like, all right, I'm back. I'm like starting to go out, chill with my friends. I'm off punishment, kicking it. And I'm like, I don't want to smoke weed because, I was smoking weed before that. And that was like fun to me. So I remember my boy was like, yo, let's smoke some bud on 26th Street on top of the Hudson Guild nursery. So we climb up there.
Did you go to nursery school there?
I did.
Me too.
Yeah. That's funny. So we sit up there, we're like fucking smoking a joint, and then boom, fucking hits me, flashback.
No.
Started bugging out. And then I had to like get away, chill. And then like maybe 2 weeks passes by.
Weed?
I try to smoke bud again in my boy's house, and we're all listening to Nice and Smooth. I know Nice and Smooth.
Hip hop junkies.
We were listening, hip hop junkies. We was listening to I Can't Have a Cake and Eat It Too. I remember it very clearly because it was a very it was a turning point in my life of like, all right, I'm never gonna smoke again. We smoked bud. Can't Have a Cake and Eat It Too was playing. I'm looking at the light. Right, we stepped outside in the hallway, and the light was flickering. I started staring at the light, and that's when the flashback hit me full blast. I felt like I just took the acid all over again. And I told my boy, and it was like a joke for a long time. I was like, "Yo, it's happening again."
So they always would say that to you.
Yes, so they all go like, "It's happening again,"
right?
Just to fuck with me.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, "Yo, I can't fucking smoke weed ever again." And honestly, I maybe tried weed, tried to take a puff, years later, same shit. It can never work. So I just stopped smoking bud. But everything else was a go.
Now, when that happened, in that period, like in the summer on punishment, you weren't selling drugs. You couldn't even get out of the house.
Oh,
right?
no, I was just on punishment, straight up.
So when did you get back to business? And when does
I mean, honestly, I had a few turns in my life, like some crazy, like a lot of crazy shit happened to me when I was like 14. I ended up becoming good friends with this kid, Hector Cintron. And before I was friends with him, I had punched him in his eye over a girl. I was like really jealous. Some girl that I liked, and he took her, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up like busting his eye open. But then we ended up becoming friends. I used to go to Times Square Church at the time. There was like a youth program there or whatever, a youth ministry or whatever. And I thought it was cool because you go there and you meet girls from other neighborhoods. It was something different. My mother would want me to go there because I grew up in church. So I remember taking my boy Hector to church one day. And on our way back to Chelsea on 23rd Street, I was like, yo, let's go pop these light bulbs, right? And he was like, cool. Because we were into popping light bulbs whenever there was construction, like a scaffolding. So we used to jump up and punch the light bulbs. So we're like punching light bulbs, boom, busting, and I remember Hector going in front of, like he was behind me, so I'm ahead of him.
What's the draw in punching light bulbs?
What's the draw?
What's the draw?
I mean, it's just fun.
Just exploding.
Yeah. It pops. And it's like,
it's magical, and you don't get hurt.
And you don't get hurt. You gotta hit it with your knuckle. Yeah. So we did that, and then Hector's behind me. He's like, yo, cross over, right where remember where Chase Bank used to be? I don't think it's there anymore, but there used to be a Chase Bank there, and then a doorman building.
Which street?
The movie theater used to be it was across the street. Now it's the IFC thing for School of Visual Arts.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So
Citibank.
Car passes by, taxi flies by. I took one step, I hear boom. I turn around and my boy Hector's like laying there mangled. Like,
oh my! It killed
destroyed.
him.
Yeah, he didn't kill him on the spot, but pretty much killed him on the spot. Like, cause he was in the hospital, brain dead for like a week.
Same year.
It was like almost a year later.
Oh my God!
I feel like I was still. Yeah, I was like 14 still. So
pretty traumatic. Fucking
so
year.
it was traumatic. I see my boys. I was the last person to see him alive. You know, and that took a toll on me. Like that made me drink to the point where like I was belligerent all the time. Like because I used to just like once I started drinking, I used to start thinking about him, and I was always feeling like, yo, that was my fault. That was my call. Like, you know, I told him let's cross over into the train station instead of going out. But honestly, it's just, you know, it's fate. You know, like shit happened, and you're a kid, you can't blame yourself. You know,
but you have to because
you're blaming yourself because you think it's your fault. You know, like you're like, oh, this is how this went.
It's very hard to understand what reality is in a situation like that.
Yeah, and you know, and that made me drink a lot. I didn't use drugs, you know, until I was like 18, 19.
And you're drinking alcoholically
I was drinking because it worked. You know, it made me like kind of just.
Because you smoked weed, you fucking trip out.
Yeah.
You're not going to start taking pills. Like,
I didn't want to sell drugs ever again.
Right.
Because of the acid. But I was like drinking a lot. You know, and I used to drink till I was blacked out a lot. I would always drink till I was blacked out. But I sold drugs. Like, you know,
the whole time.
I would sell weed, sometimes sell crack. But I was never a full-time drug dealer. Like I was like, I used to like to go racking. I used to like to do.
But what's racking?
Stealing shit.
So wait, why is it called racking?
I don't know. Racking, like you're taking stuff off the rack.
What would you be racking?
I was racking 40 ounces. We steal cigarettes from like, you know, put the arms over the
How'd you pull that off?
Oh, we just go in there deep or go into a store like 10 deep.
It's just like, fuck it.
Start rampaging,
right,
you know,
right.
and distracting the guy in the front. Stealing 40 ounces, you know, candies, whatever. You know, we used to go to the supermarket. We used to have like contests to see who can come out the supermarket with the most shit. TV dinners, like all types of crazy shit. Steaks.
And you could just do it because you rolled thick with.
And yeah, and it wasn't even out of necessity. It was like it was like fun, and it was like a thrill. As a teenager, to just cause havoc
in this neighborhood.
Oh, we feel like we shut down the AMP. It used to be on 8th Avenue. I think it was the AMP. I forgot the name.
It was the AMP.
AMP was on 8th Ave.
Right here. There was the AMP here. And then I think there was another
there was one in the,
and that one's gone.
Where the pizza shop used to be.
Yeah,
there was a supermarket there.
Yeah.
So we would go in there and like every day.
And the neighborhood was way different back then too.
Yeah, I mean the neighborhood was changing. The neighborhood was like, you know,
getting bougie and gayer.
8th Avenue was gay, like a lot of gay people, wealthy people. I mean, it was scary. Chelsea was a scary neighborhood, and I feel like, you know, a lot of things changed.
It was a miracle I survived.
Yeah, a lot of things changed, but I feel like a lot of things didn't change. Like, because this neighborhood is still bad.
Yeah.
People just don't know it. Like, people think, oh, they see those nice buildings. They see, you know, a lot of rich people living here. But, like, I promise you that a lot of shit is still going on.
Of anything west of 9th, it's like, it's a lot of projects.
No, but even so, I mean, look, you have that, you know, have that school, which the rich kids go to.
Which one?
On 10th Avenue. I forgot the name of it.
I don't know.
I mean, but there was a documentary on the shit and everything. But, you know, you have that.
I know what you're talking about.
It's on the High Line. It's like, connected to the High Line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when we met, and again, I'm probably wrong, you had bleached hair.
No.
Who had bleached hair?
Not me.
Somebody did. Were you guys like, there was a rave thing going on, I feel like. Because you had, maybe it was the ecstasy.
I mean, I would go to raves to sell ecstasy.
Right.
Like,
how did you get into that? Like, when did you start dealing with ecstasy?
I started going to raves.
You're like, no, I didn't have bleached hair, Dave.
No, I did have, you know what? You didn't know me when I had bleached hair. Like, I bleached my hair like in 1997. That was the first time.
Dude, but you're wrong with the time. I left New York City in 2001.
No.
Yes.
All right. I could tell you. I could tell you that you're wrong. I could tell you wrong. I lived in North Carolina from 2000 to 2002.
It's
crazy. I met you in 2004. My daughter was born already.
It's crazy because I have so many conflicting timelines.
You know what? It's the chicken soup in your brain. It mixes up time. I'm very good with timelines because my life is like broken up into certain timelines of things that I did.
I mean, I respect you, and listen, I know my timeline is wrong. I think we're both wrong.
All right.
Okay, but we can skip all that because you're in the ecstasy. When did you get in the ecstasy world, though?
So
you don't need to give years because your years are obviously wrong.
No, definitely not wrong. It was 1996.
All right.
I just came home.
But do you think it's a coincidence that I remember you with the bleached hair?
I probably showed you pictures.
What do you think? I'm looking at pictures?
Yeah, I used to show people pictures. I used to bring my photo albums around sometimes and tell people that I was co-op and I would show them pictures of me. But in 1996, I went to Rikers Island, or 1995 actually.
How'd you get busted?
I was selling crack. I got caught on my rollerblades.
In Chelsea?
Yeah, in Chelsea.
Tell us that story. That sounds like a good story.
I served the undercover some crack. Like I used to sell drugs on my rollerblades. I was like the only cat like on the rollerblades. Like,
what did they call you then?
My hood nickname was Cowboy.
Uh-huh.
That was my nickname growing up in Chelsea because when I was younger, I used to be crippled from like 5 to 8 years old. I had a hip disease called leg perthosis. Very, it was like pretty rare. And they put cast on my legs and I used to walk like a cowboy.
Right.
I went through that. They weren't calling me cowboy when I was younger, but when I was in junior high school, like when everybody started snapping, everybody wanted to be fucking In Living Color or Def Poetry Jam, fucking comedians. We were all coming up with different snaps and shit. And someone called me cowboy. They were like, all right, cowboy, and started walking like a cowboy. Because they remember me when I was younger, walking like a cowboy. So that name actually stuck with me for many years. And I didn't like people calling me cowboy back then. I used to be like, yo, don't fucking call me cowboy.
But eventually you
But then it was
it.
just like, you know what? Like,
it's not a bad nickname. As nicknames go, it could be much worse.
Yeah.
Some people are trying to call me Dopey Dave. I hate that. I fucking hate that.
Nah, what about Slam?
Slam is the greatest nickname I've ever been given.
I've always called you Slam.
All right.
You'll always be Slam.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's the best nickname I've ever got.
Slam.
Let the boys be boys.
All right, so back to 95. I get caught selling drugs on my rollerblades. I sold to an undercover, right? And this lady came up to me. She was like, "Yo, let me get two." And I was like, "Go in the elevator." I rode to the building, rode in the elevator, and she was like, pulling money out of her breast, crotch. I'm like, "Yo, fuck!" I was like, "Yo, hurry up!" Right? And then
you're on rollerblades in the elevator?
Yeah, I'm on my rollerblades.
That's crazy.
We go to fucking to I don't know what floor. Usually used to go all the way high to a higher floor. And I look down and I see the other elevator and I see two guys with jerseys. You can look through the side of the elevator so you can see down to the next elevator.
Yeah.
And I saw two jerseys. I was like, fuck, that's the D's. That's the undercovers. They used to always wear fucking jerseys, like football jerseys, baseball jerseys. I was like, damn.
To look cool.
It's the fucking D's. I pushed her out the elevator.
Wait, why are they called D's?
Detectives.
Right, DTs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
DTs,
yeah.
detectives,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So I fucking pushed her out the elevator. I hit, a lower floor. I get out, fucking run downstairs, go to my crib, fucking go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I go home, take a nap, fucking wake up from my nap. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go put some money down on my chain because I had a chain that I put on layaway. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get it. Got the receipt. Now I got the money on me. The marked money was on me. I come on my building, I'm rolling. I go through PS33, the fucking, the 27th Street. I'm rolling through there. And then I just hear, so I have money in my hand. I don't know if I had crack in my hand too, but I let it roll off of my chest. Instead of like throwing it so it looked like I threw something.
You just dropped it kind of surreptitiously.
I let it roll.
Yeah.
And I just gunned it. I just started skating super fast, full speed. I fucking turned around PS33 on 7th, on right there on 27. I turn, right? And I'm turning and I was gonna jump over the wall and then I see the fucking cops coming from the opposite way. And I'm like, fuck, bro, they got me, So I get arrested, fucking put me in a van with like the van was full. So it was like TNT. It must have been a Tuesday or Thursday at the time. I was like,
describe TNT. It was Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays
everybody up.
When the cops just go around and do the sweeps, just busting people everywhere.
So the vans would be totally full.
Yes, completely full. So, I get arrested, go to the Tombs. I was in the Tombs. I'm in my rollerblade boots the whole time. Lightning TRS fucking, the booties. Mind this, as soon as I get into jail, people are like, yo, what the fuck are those? Like, I'm probably the reason why they came up with, what are those? Like, what are those?
Right.
I'm with these like space looking boots, you know? That was, you know, definitely some legendary shit, bro.
How long did you have to be in there for?
So I was in the Tombs for like, I say a month, and then
You were in the Tombs for a month?
Yeah. And then
I didn't even know they kept people in there that long.
Check this out. So while I was in the Tombs, right, I meet this kid. I saw this kid with like he had leopard print hair, like he had the fucking, you know, the raver shit, and he had big jeans. And I was like, yo, my man, what's up with your jeans, bro? And like, mind this, I'm still in my boots because for some reason my sister tried to bring me sneakers. Every sneaker she tried to get in, they wouldn't let him in. And they didn't have like the Patakis, the sneakers or whatever the fuck they were called. So I'm like in these booties this whole time. But then there's this kid with he got raver jeans on. I never seen anybody with raver jeans at that time. I was like, yo, my man, what's up with your jeans? He's like, yo, I'm a fucking raver. And I was like, what the fuck is a raver? He was like, yo, we go to raves, man, like big ass parties. He starts explaining to me what are raves. And I was like, that sounds crazy.
Hold on, let me write this down.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, man, I fucking be doing ecstasy and Special K. And I was like, what the fuck is ecstasy and Special K? So he starts explaining it to me. He was like, yo, I can make you a lot of money if you wanna link up with me when we come home. And then he was like, yeah, I be breakdancing. I was like, wait, you breakdance? And he was like, yeah. I was like, let me see what you could do.
Was he nice?
This kid started busting out windmills in raver jeans in the fucking Tombs, bro. And I'm like, all right, this kid blew my mind. Like, all right, he's not bullshit. He can fucking breakdance. All right. So I'm like, okay, he sparked my interest. And he was telling me that he has connects for ecstasy, that he can get a Special K. And I was like, yo, when I come home, I got money I'm coming home to. Like, because I had a lawsuit at the time that I was going to end. I was going to get the money when
What was the lawsuit for?
I got hit by a car on 28th Street when I was like a little kid. And the money was coming in while I was in jail.
Perfect timing. Perfect,
I'm
horrible
telling
timing.
this kid, I'm like, yo, when I come home, I got money like I could play with. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got the connects and you want to run with me, we can make some money. He was like, yo, just meet me at Washington Square Park. Ask for Hanky Panky. That was his name, Hanky Panky, right? So I ended up going to Rikers Island, right? And then
how bad was that?
I mean, it wasn't, honestly, bro, I had one fight while I was there. You know what I'm saying? I got my nose broke by some big ass Mexican dude over TV. Like,
what did you want to watch?
Oh, man. I wanted to watch 90210,
right?
Believe it or not.
And what did he want to watch?
And he was fucking changing the channel to some Spanish shit. And I was like, nah, bro. Like, I fucking changed it. And then he changed it. And then everybody starts surrounding the fucking room. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm about to pop off on this motherfucker. So I just started swinging. Like, you know, and mind this, like, I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm gonna knock him out. Because I used to be used to like, I try to go for the one-hitter quitter. And this dude was not falling. Like he fucking grabbed me and like crushed my head. He didn't punch me. He didn't break my nose by punching it. He put me in a headlock and my nose popped while he was squeezing my head.
Oh my God.
And I'm fucking just like
bleeding.
And then the cops broke it up. We both got tickets and we was getting sent to the box. So mind this, at the time, my sister had raised the bail. She got the bail money from some kid that she met in front of my building. That he moved to my neighborhood, but he was from another neighborhood, and I saved him from getting jumped by my hood.
So he hooked it up.
And he was like, "Oh, that's your brother?" He was like, "Yo, I know him. He saved me from getting jumped downtown." And he was like, "Yo, you know what? Yo, I got the bread." Because my boy Joe at the time, rest in peace now, at the time, Joe had a lawsuit too, and he had bread. So he ended up bailing me out with some money that my girlfriend at the time, her mom had put some money up too. My sister went to go pick that up. So they got me out of jail, right? I come home. I go to the fucking bank. You know what I'm saying? My mother signed the papers. I get like, you know, almost 20 grand or some shit like that. And I started going to work, fucking splurging. I went straight to Macy's.
Did you find Hanky Panky?
I did find Hanky Panky. Yes, I did. But I remember, like, I went shopping first. Before I did anything.
Did you buy big jeans?
I paid back my ex-girlfriend's mother. I went to her house, right? And her mother sat down. She was like, I need to tell you something. And I was like, what is it? And she was like, you're no longer allowed to date my daughter. And like, that shit crushed me. Like, that really fucking crushed me at the time. And it was like, that was like something that hit me in a depression part. Even though I was like, yeah, I got money, this and that. It was like my fucking high school sweetheart I wasn't allowed to be with anymore, right?
Crushing blow.
Yeah, so whatever. I went shopping, bought a bunch of bought polo off of fucking cats that I know that stole. Like I was getting my gear up, fucking gold chain, got my gold chain out. Like I was chilling. Like I was doing, feeling like I was living it up.
You were living it up.
Yeah, so.
Did you buy the big, you didn't buy the big jeans?
No.
Okay.
No, not at the time, no. So I ended up going to Washington Square Park and I was like, let me see if I can find this kid. Sure enough, Hanky Panky was in the fucking park with a bunch of ravers. And I was like, yo, what's up, bro? I was like, yo, what's up? Let's make some money. And he was like, all right, cool. He ended up getting a bunch of Special K.
Did you ever take it?
I ended up taking it like after a while. Like it was like, cause I already started doing coke, like little bumps and shit. And then I started getting sick of coke. Like I didn't like coke. Coke was just like making me feel like I was like in a turtle shell. Like I was the first time I did it was like, woo, like I wanted to fucking dance. It was at Club Essos in Midtown. And I remember I was with my girlfriend. We both did it for the first time together. She was like, yo, why don't we try? I want to try coke. And I was like, nah. I was like, hell no. And she was like, well, if I don't try it now, I'm going to do it when I go to college anyway. And I was like, I was so in love with her at the time.
You didn't want her doing coke with somebody else.
I was like, yeah, it was so fucking stupid. If I could turn back the hands of time, that would have been the day where I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
That's the one regret out of all this stuff?
That's along with the acid.
Right.
The two things that I regret the most was those two moments in my life.
When you took the coke, did it affect you?
Oh, it felt good. Like I fucking went and we went to Club Essos together, like fucking did it. And then I was feeling like I was on top of the world. And I even danced with some other girls and she was standing there. I come back and she's crying because I went to the bathroom and on my way to the bathroom, I ended up dancing with like two girls. She watched me from on top of Essos, like, and she was like standing there and then I get up and I was like, what's the matter? Why are you crying? She was like, I saw you dancing with two other girls. And I was like, yo, I'm sorry. I was like, yo, I'm fucking coked up. Like, it just hit me crazy.
Right.
It's so, whatever. I got locked up after that, right? After doing the coke for the first time with her and whatever. And when I came home and her mother said that I can't be with her, it was like, that shit hit me like, damn. I wanted this girl so much before I got with her that, like, she was everything to me at the time. And when that was taken away from me, I was just like, no fucking way. I was like depressed.
Do you think that when that happened, you were like, fuck it, I'm not gonna have the life I want, so now I'm gonna have this fucked up life?
Yeah, no, so I started like not giving a fuck about anything and I started doing coke. Like with my customers. You know what I'm saying? Like I would chill with some of my customers that we doing, they'd be like, yo, you wanna do something? And I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, yo, I'll sit here with you, and then I end up all night doing coke with my customers. So I started becoming a drug addict with them. And then I started getting tired of doing fucking coke. Like I was like, yo, this shit is fucking horrible, bro. Like I don't feel good. Like this is not like that fucking time at Essos when I was dancing. Like I'm not having a good time. So my boy was like, yo, why don't you just fucking do some Special K one day? We're at a fucking rave. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Did a bump of K. I was like in a fucking K-hole.
What'd you think of that?
I felt better than I did.
No, K felt good.
When I was doing coke, it felt better because it was like numbing out, spaced me the fuck out.
Loose.
I was like, all right, this is kind of,
Did you do a lot of K? A lot of K?
I did a lot of K for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, like and I was getting it when it was like fucking ketamine, when it was in the
straight out of the chemist.
When it was in the yellow box,
right?
Plastic, wrapped up. I ended up getting like a ill connect, like because one of my boys had said some stupid shit to some girl, like, yo, I heard you fuck mad good, like, to this girl.
That's always a good thing, as opposed to, yo, I heard you're terrible at fucking.
He said to some girl named Kit Kat, right? And we was in front of Vinyl, I think, downtown by I think there was the Holland Tunnel, like right when you get out.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a club, I think it was called Vinyl. It used to be Nassau, I think. I just remember like my boy saying that outside the club, and I looked at him and I slapped him. It's my boy Vinny, and I know if he's gonna probably hear this shit too. I got mad love for Vinny, but Vinny from the Bronx.
Shout out to Vinny.
Slapped the shit out of Vinny, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You gonna say some shit like that? You blowing up my man Orlando spot. Rest in peace. So Kit Kat at the time, and I'm not gonna say who her man was. He was a connect at the time. I get a phone call from him, and he's like, yo, is this Cowboy? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he was like, yo, this is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, what's good? I knew his name. I just didn't know him. He was like, yo, I want you to come meet me. And I was like, okay. He's like, yo, if you get any white girl, bring it. So I knew he wanted some coke. So I was like, I went to go meet the dude. I get up there and he was like, yo, listen, man. He was like, yo, I know you slapped your boy for Kit Kat. He was like, I just want to, say thank you. That's my girl. And I was like, oh, well, cool. I'll do that for any girl, whatever. Captain Hero is Captain Saberho.
That's nice.
Captain Saberho.
Right.
But he was like, yo, listen, man. He was like, I know you be making money with the coke. He was like, yo, if you want to make money with Special K, I know you be getting some customers. He was like, I'll give you the best price. Started giving me them for like $10 on a lick. Like I was getting, and then I was like, oh shit, now I can sell the fucking 144 licks a case of K.
So how much did you make off? Explain that to me, because I'm slow.
All right. So Special K back in the 90s, I remember that like retail, like say if you was just like a regular customer and you wanted to buy licks, which was like the case, it was the valve, right? It was like the injection bottle.
Right.
A sealed label will be, they used to be street value was $40. That person, whoever buys that, they will like cook it up and then turn it into, you can turn it into 240 jars.
Right.
Or you can make, I don't know if you make bags, but everybody was into getting vials, like these little 40 jars, right?
I did very little ketamine, so this is good education for me.
You know what's crazy, man? It's big right now, I think.
Well, they're also selling it for depression all over the place.
I think a lot of people are doing it right now. I think it's getting crazy. But at the time, I know that it was like straight out the fucking legit ketamine vial.
From the source. And it was crazy gay thing here too in this neighborhood. Tons of gay people were taking ketamine. Like it was the club thing.
Well, they were doing, yeah. I mean, so.
Or am I confusing I'm confusing with meth.
No,
right?
you're thinking of meth.
Yeah.
Meth is like in the gay community.
Yeah. But ketamine was a big club thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, ketamine too, like, in all types of communities except for the hood.
Right.
I was the first person to bring that shit to the projects and be like, yo, check this shit out. Like, you ever heard of this? And like, I had some of the homies from Chelsea Projects, like fucking Try Special K. I even bought ecstasy. I'm the first person to bring ecstasy to Chelsea in the projects. No one even heard of that shit. Then we had.
You're like a pioneer.
Yeah, everybody started selling ecstasy and fake ecstasy in front of fucking Twilo. Like, I'm the one who put everybody up onto that shit from my projects. Like, nobody in my projects even knew about that shit before.
Because you can make a lot of money from it.
Yeah, so there was money. Like, we started, we were going in front of the clubs and we just like sell pills outside the club. And then we'll make, after we sell like, a bunch of real shit, then we'll start selling fake shit at the end of the night.
Because you already had the good rap.
Because people were already like feeling like, oh damn, they sold me some good shit before we got in the club. When they're leaving the club, now they want to get some more. They see us there and then we sell them the fake shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And boom, and we triple up, But like I never stuck around to like always do that. Like I was always on the move. Like I never liked to stay in one place. I was always like, all right, yo, I got shit to do. I'm trying to go uptown. I'm going to Bronx. I'm going to Brooklyn, Queens, like going to Jersey.
And how was your addiction at that point? Like you're still drinking a lot?
I was doing K. My objective was always to make money. I always just wanted to make money. But like being that I was chilling with certain people, like they were doing drugs and I'd be like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna do drugs with them. But I always was like, yo, I'm trying to make bread. Like I'm trying to fucking travel, like, and go around the United States. We used to go to raves, fucking Philly, DC, all types of places, man. We was going to raves in
Did you like the scene?
Pittsburgh. I mean, it was fun.
Sure.
This shit was mad fun. And it was dangerous at the same time. It was like, yo, we're gonna fucking listen to crazy ass music, make money in a club, in one night, you can make like $5,000, bro.
Crazy.
Easy.
Right.
In a rave. Like that's one fucking night.
And you're like,
people don't make that in a week selling drugs in the project.
But you're like the man at the rave. It's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, but granted, you want to like.
Did you wear a cowboy?
You want to
hat?
go in? No.
Do people like there's the cowboy?
Nah. People knew me. I came off in the documentary. Better Living Through Circuitry.
I like how you're disgusted when I ask you if you wore a cowboy.
Nah. I would never wear a cowboy hat. I mean, top hats, that.
I know that. Yeah.
Fedoras and shit,
Yeah.
but I think cowboy hats look ridiculous unless you're from fucking
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
You actually ride a horse. I actually did ride a horse for the first time. Well, not the first time, but like the first time as an adult in Colorado. Yeah.
True cowboy experience.
Yeah. It was a nice experience, man. I think it was like getting in touch with nature and shit,
Totally. When do you think alcoholism and addiction became a thing?
I mean, I think, you know, 'cause the alcohol was like when I was a teenager, a young teenager.
But did you stick with you the whole way through?
Oh, yeah. And so, okay, like when I was 18, when I started going to raves and started doing drugs more, and I tried ecstasy and mescaline, you know, I was experimenting with drugs, but I would never smoke weed because I knew that was like my fucking kryptonite.
It's so funny.
That is my kryptonite.
I feel like you smoked weed with me though.
No, everyone does. That's
It
like
just didn't
everyone
happen.
swears they smoked weed with me.
Right. Because they smoked weed next to
It's impossible
you.
because if I don't smoke weed for the past fucking
30
years,
right.
like you could not have smoked with me. But everyone thinks that they smoke weed with me. But
I'm sure what happened with me is you sat in my apartment and I smoked weed.
You smoked weed in front of me.
Yeah.
I would always like, whenever people smoke around me, I always kind of like,
because you're scared of.
I'll put my shirt over.
It's really interesting though that you could take ecstasy and mescaline, and even ketamine is pretty psychedelic, and none of those trigger anything.
No, it's just something about, I think, the smoke. I think it's the smoke that pulls it up. It's going through your respiratory system. It's pulling something out.
What made you want to get sober then?
Well, so back to the 90s, I'd say, so 96, 95, 96, 97, I started getting paranoia, like fucking like really bad, like anxiety, paranoia, but like panic attacks, like bad. And I would fucking completely flip out, like, and think that like I was gonna get killed. I would think that the FBI was after me. And not for nothing, bro. Like
they could have been.
I feel like I've dodged that bullet a few times because of my paranoia telling me something. I feel like it really was like going, like it was really happening.
You know the old expression, right?
Yeah.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's people who definitely I've seen people go down, and I just like got out of shit just in time. You know what I'm saying? Like I was high until bro, smoke dust, fucking like couple pills of ecstasy, coke, just all in one night at raves. You're doing everything. It's like a cocktail. You're like doing every drug that's available. You know what I'm saying? After I would do this after I made all the money. Like I'll make like $2,000-$3,000. I'm like, I tuck my money into my underwears. Like, so, I'll go to the bathroom, fix all my money, tuck it all into money. All right, now it's time to get high. Like, and let's go to a fucking hotel. Bring back some girls. Like, that was like the daily rave life, you know what I'm saying? We used to go to Concrete Jungle. I used to do that shit there. Actually, Concrete Jungle was the first place I did a hit of ecstasy with my homegirl Fatima. We both was like, yo, you want to drop ecstasy? And she's like, fuck it. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Where was that party?
That was on St. Mark's.
Yeah.
Concrete Jungle.
I never did anything. I swear, I barely left my apartment.
You was a homebody drug addict?
Yeah, big time. Unless I was working, because I would do those shows, like the shows that I showed you. I would go out to work, and I actually was a private eye in the tunnel in the limelight, like in some weird fucking job. But no, I never went out for, I rarely went out for fun. I just wanted to stay home and get high.
Yeah, I mean, shit, dude. I went to a rave in Great Adventure. I think it was called Day at the Park. Like everyone's on drugs at Great Adventure while families are fucking walking around. We got ravers bugging the fuck out, like on the rise.
You
like,
were in the mix, the whole rave scene.
Dude, it was crazy.
Making a ton of money.
Going to Club Tunnel, the Tunnel, Limelight, fucking, oh man. There was so many clubs, bro. It was a crazy time, man. And having those connects, it was like you was making so much money.
You're like a fucking superhero with the connect.
Yeah.
Like with that kind of
and I had the coke connects too. So I was bringing the coke to the rave scene, and I was getting good coke from Uptown. Because I had the Uptown connects,
So when did it start to go bad?
When I started getting fucked up. When I was getting too fucked up. And paranoia started kicking in, and I was just feeling like there was times where I felt suicidal, bro. Like I was bugging out so hard on drugs that I felt like the only way to stop it was to jump in front of a fucking truck or some shit, And I was just like, you know what? No, man, I'm not killing myself. There's no fucking way. And I remember like just trying to find God at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just going back to God actually, like, cause I grew up in a church setting. Honestly, man, I believe that's 100% why like I was able to get out of it.
So did you feel like you were a total drug addict? You're paranoid. You're bugged out. You're making a shitload of money. Like, how hard was it to bail on making money like that and the status and the fun?
Check this shit out, bro. You will not fucking believe it. I took a cab one day to Washington Square Park with a knot of money, with all the money that I had. And I put all my clothes in it. And there's a lot of people that can vouch for this shit because till this day, like I've had people say that they were in Washington Square Park that day.
Oh God.
I fucking gave away all my polo.
Hold on. And your money?
And the knot of money I gave to the cab driver and said, yo, keep this shit. And the cab driver cried and he was just like, are you serious? And I was like, yo, just keep it. Because like I felt like God told me to do this. Like to give away everything and to start from scratch.
Do you remember like a bottom, like an inciting moment where you were like,
I mean, the bottom was me about to kill myself, like jump in front of a truck. That was a bottom at that time.
It's got to be a big bottom.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I need my mind back. And I remember going back, like that happened on my way back from a rave from Philly. I jumped off the bus and I was like in the middle of wherever the fuck the highway was. It was like a snowy day and I was in the cold and I felt like I was gonna get killed or like the FBI was after me. And I remember like being in a field and I was gonna jump in front of a truck, right? Because I felt all these voices were telling me to do shit in my head. And then I was like, no. I was like, this is not really happening. This is the fucking drugs.
This is drug-induced psychosis.
I was like, I started praying to God and I was like, I need you to take over my mind and do not let me do anything to harm myself. And if there is someone out to hurt me, protect me from them. And I was like, I need your help. I can't do this no more. And I remember like getting through it, right?
Why'd you give all your clothes away?
I felt like I just needed to start over. Like it didn't belong to me. Nothing belonged to me. The money didn't belong to me. The clothes didn't belong to me. I needed to start straight from scratch.
Did you get help from anybody?
So all right. So that whole time I was on probation. And I was just MIA. I was I didn't report to my probation officer for like a year. You know what I'm saying? So when I went back to my PO, I was like, hey, I have a drug problem. You know what I'm saying? Like and you know, I wanna get my life together. You know, and my PO was just like, well, you know, I should be sending you to jail right now. And I was just like, I just need help. You know, I was like, I don't have a place to live. I'm trying to stay in my sister's house. I was like, I just want to get my life together. I want to get a job. Like, I'm done with, like, the streets, you know? And then my PO was like, okay, well, you need to send me the address where you're going to be staying at. And she was like, and you need to get a job. And she was like, and this is the drug program you're going to go to. And then she gave me the drug program that I was supposed to go to. I started going to a drug program.
Where was that?
If I could remember, Beth Israel, maybe. I think it was Beth Israel Hospital. I did a year outpatient program there.
Was it helpful?
It was helpful.
You didn't use.
But the funny thing is, I was convinced that I was already done with drugs.
You didn't need the program
because I was going to church. Like I started going back to church.
Was that when you got sober?
Yeah.
And you stayed sober?
Yeah, I stayed sober for a couple of years at the very least. I relapsed again after that, but like I never relapsed and started using drugs the way I did. Like I relapsed on ecstasy, but like I would do a pill like once every month. You know what I mean? And then I completely stopped that after like a year.
What made you stop? What made you stop again?
What made me stop again? Oh, I got stabbed. That put a fucking stop to everything. I got stabbed in North Carolina.
Were you dealing then?
Yeah.
Were you dealing sober?
Yeah.
Because you needed the money.
No, because I wanted the money. Like, I had a job. I was working for Banana Republic at the time. I had a decent job. Yeah, I was working for Banana Republic, and then like one of my homies was working with me, and he had the Pill Connect. He was telling me like, "Yo, I can get ecstasy for mad cheap," and I was like, "Nah, I ain't fucking around no more." And one day I was with my cousin at rollerblades, and he was with his homie, and I heard his homie talking on the phone, but he didn't say nothing about drugs. All I heard was like some numbers.
Right.
And I figured those numbers were about ecstasy because I could tell.
Because that's the way your brain works.
And I was like, yo, I tapped him on the shoulder and I was like, yo, hang up the phone. He was like, I was like, just hang it up. And I was like, yo, you trying to get E? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yo, I got you. Like the clocks work in my fucking brain like that. I was like, yo, I got you, bro. Like, cause I heard the prices he was saying. He was talking about like, 14 on 100. I was like, I can get them shits for fucking $8, like $7, my boy was telling me. And that's when I started selling drugs again.
And Hanky Panky was out of the picture.
Oh, been out of the picture, bro.
It's so funny, ecstasy prices, 8, 10, 12, 14,
dude,
for 100.
I at the lowest, bro, I was getting them for $3.
Wow, you can make a lot of money.
And I was getting them by the thousands. Like,
when did you stop selling?
Well, I started. Even like the last time I sold drugs was 2016. Like I went back to
But that's a bit ago.
I would go back on. Like I told myself I'm done. Like
what happened in
last
2016 though?
Well, I went to Puerto Rico to sober up, and in 2016 to help my mother out with my dad because he was slowly losing it from Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing drugs from like 2012 to 2013. I relapsed in 2011 to 2016. I was doing drugs. I was doing coke.
Everything.
Like, just mostly coke and drinking a hell of fucking beer. I was living like a rock star, like an art rock star this time. Like, that's how I felt. Like I was like, I'm an artist. I'm a fucking rock star. Like,
when did the art come in?
I've always did art.
The whole way through.
I mean, yeah. I mean, since I did graffiti my whole life, like since I was 12.
What did you write back then?
I was JS, I was Monk, Word, 26, Cowboy. I threw that up for a couple of years. Then 2002, I started writing up words. And then from words to No Sleep to Say No. So I have multiple tags.
And what was the artist rock star business like?
I mean, fun.
But what made you feel like that? Like, what about your art?
Because I didn't want to sell drugs. I didn't want to be a drug dealer no more. So I was like, I'd rather sell art than fucking drugs. It's like selling art felt like, I feel like selling art felt like a robbery, a good robbery.
Because it's what you do.
It's like you fucking,
where would you sell
make
art?
a painting, you sell that one painting, and you feel like you just came up on a fucking on a jukes, like you know,
on
like,
a what?
On a jukes, like you rob somebody. But
What's
like
a jukes or
a jukes, a jukes.
I never even heard that.
Yeah, like if you juke somebody, I don't even know where the word jukes comes
from. This is great. I'm learning a lot of stuff. So when did you start selling art, and where did you start selling art?
Okay, so I started selling art in 2003.
On the street?
On the street.
Where, downtown?
At the flea market right here on 25th Street. That was the first time I sold art. Was
by 6th Avenue? That's
no, 8th Avenue. There was one on 8th Avenue as well, right across from.
Those days were so.
You know
sweet.
The parking lot on 25th Street?
Yeah.
So there was a flea market there.
Yeah.
It was very short-lived flea market, but
those were good days.
One
the
day
flea
I was
markets
like,
in Chelsea.
One day I was like, yo, I would like to sell some artwork, you know, and some vintage clothing and shit. The guy was like, yeah. I was like, do I need anything? I'm like, you got a tax ID? I was like, I can get one, you know? And then I just filed out, got my tax ID, and then the guy let me, you know, I rented a table. So I started selling trucker hats and some little small canvases, doing graffiti on pants and shit. Yeah, I would do that time to time, but then, you know, I started hustling and I was like, I'm not going to do that no more, you know?
Did you ever sell drugs at the table?
Art. No, hell no. I wasn't stupid. Keep that shit separate. I did it in Soho before. I would bring a couple bags of coke or some weed to Soho with me and like sell art and bud and shit.
Because there's a lot of people selling art in Soho like that on the street.
But yeah. I mean, I've sold. Listen, I used to like kind of try to keep it separate, man. Like I just didn't want to mix my selling drugs and art. Although like there's been times where like I did drugs with like art clients and then they'll be like, yo, can you get this and that? And I used to be like, yeah, I can get it. You know, because I always had the connects. My connects never disappeared. Like I could start selling drugs today if I wanted to and have all the connects that I've had.
When's the last time you were in touch with those guys?
I mean, I'm friends with like, you know, I grew up with cats that are connects.
But it's not a thing.
And they're still homies. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still like my brothers, you know.
But there's no temptation or anything.
No. I honestly never sell drugs again.
And when did you start calling it Say No?
2 years before I started doing drugs.
Why did you use Say No?
Because I was trying to manifest that.
Like what? Explain that.
I just started writing Say No, like on walls.
Like old school Say No to drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And also mixed with John Michel Basquiat, Samo.
No,
not at all.
Not even. but it definitely sounds like a very similar thing. But no, I wrote Say No because I wanted to say no. Like I wanted that shit like bad. And I was like trying to manifest it when I first started trying to get sober back in 2014. But it wasn't until 2 years later that I actually finally was like, all right, I'm fucking done. And I just stopped. I got high in Puerto Rico with my sister. We got real fucked up.
You had the laughing tabs?
Nah, I did a fucking gram of coke like by myself.
Went
to San Dulce. Fucking ended up meeting up with some Rough Riders from Puerto Rico. We was kicking it with them, and then we're like, yo, we're going to our clubhouse. We ended up going to some Rough Riders clubhouse in PR.
What makes somebody a Rough Rider, though?
They're like motorcycle. It's like a motorcycle
like the
crew
DMX
gang.
thing. Right,
I'm not gonna say gang. I don't know.
I get it.
They're a crew. I don't know. Like, that's their deal. You know what I'm saying?
But it's good for me just to define all this shit. Just
the Rough Riders, like fucking DMX's people. They're like a motorcycle like group. Like, but they were cool, you know. And I did my last Barry Yak. I was in Puerto Rico, my mother's crib upstairs, and I was like, yo, why am I doing cocaine in my mother's house in Puerto Rico? I put it down, and I was like, I'm never doing this shit again. And that was it. I didn't drink after that. I didn't fucking.
Did you go to meetings?
No.
Never?
No.
I feel like when we talked, you told me you did.
If I did go to meetings, I went to maybe 2 for my boy Greg Naw, who passed away recently. He asked me to come, and I went with him, but it wasn't for me. It's just not.
And when did No Sleep come about?
Well, No Sleep was when I was like getting fucked up, when I was just drinking all night. Like when I came home from jail and I got off of parole and I started bombing my character and shit.
Where did the character come from?
Character came from me wearing a top hat on New Year's of 2010, and I was like,
were you tripping?
No.
On ecstasy, I mean?
No, just drinking.
So where did you get the top hat? I
found the top hat in my loft during a New Year's party on 2010. And I was like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, yo, I'm fucking wearing this hat. Like, this is official. And then I used to do my character with a fedora on. I just switched it from a fedora to a top hat.
And the character's kind of like this Phantom of the Opera kind of style, kind of like, describe it.
Well,
I'm going to put it in the Dopey logo for your show.
My character, well, I have a character with the top hat and the sunglasses. That's the original one when I first started doing it.
Who is he in your mind?
He's me. He's me. It's my self-reflection. And then when it has a skull, it's like just wearing a mask over my face. It's wearing a sugar skull mask over my face.
Right.
So it's like, and then the scarf is just like, it's a scarf to cover up my face, like my identity, which I don't really cover up my identity anymore.
Why'd you stop covering up the identity?
I'm fucking lazy.
And also people aren't coming after you. And also graffiti has become way more respected too.
I mean, that has nothing to do with it, man. I got sometimes somebody will come up to me if I went over their shit and they'll be like, yo, you went over me, but I'll be like, yo, I didn't mean to, like, you know,
disrespect.
I didn't mean to disrespect you. I just, you know, I did take that spot, and my bad if you felt a certain way. I don't try to like deliberately like disrespect people's shit, but sometimes like I really want a spot and I'll take it, you know.
I think we have to find a spot for the Dopey.
I try to respectfully cover the whole shit, you know. But there's times where like people, they recognize your face because your shit's online, you know. And I get shit for it sometimes.
How often did you go bombing all fucked up?
All the time.
Do you have a good story from then?
It's not that many good stories of me getting fucked up. Because when I was getting fucked up, my shit looked really sloppy. You can actually tell when I used to get fucked up. I used to write my tags and it was very squiggly. Like really squiggly.
Because you were all shook.
From 2013 to 16, there's a lot of those. If you ever run into those tags, they're like really squiggly. My characters are really messy looking, like wild. You know, it's like there's no control, you know?
I mean, like, I don't remember seeing that character so much as I've seen it lately.
Yeah.
Are you going harder now than you did then?
Oh, I definitely go way harder sober than I did getting fucked up.
And then where's the career now? I know you were learning to tattoo, and I know you've got this the studio, and I know you're selling a ton of art.
Yeah.
So what's up with the career now?
I mean, it's just going, you know, just trying to do some shit. It's funny because my character just came off in Blue Bloods.
Oh yeah?
Came off in an episode. But they covered my character. Like they digitally blacked out the face of my character, but the thing is they made it into my shadow. So it's still my shit.
That's cool.
So like even though they blacked out my face,
you remember the old shadow people around the city? They would like
Shadow Man?
Yeah.
That's Shadow Man.
I don't know, but it was cool. They were everywhere.
Yeah, that's
that was a cool fucking piece too.
That's
he can't be around anymore.
No, he passed away. He died of all right, don't quote me on this, but I know through other people that he was a heroin addict.
The Shadow guy was?
Shadow Man, yes.
That's interesting. You know, I told you I paid that dude Hectad to do a Dopey piece on First Street,
Oh,
So
cool.
he put it up on First Street on this garage door, and then they're shooting a TV show there, and they fucking painted over it, and
wow.
and now it's gone, and now we need to do a piece.
I know Hectad.
He's a piece of work.
Yeah, we're
This
cool.
guy.
We're cool.
Okay,
We're cool.
Good.
We're cool people. He's cool with me.
I hear you. He did a Dopey piece. It got covered. We need to do an Optimo Dopey piece.
Yeah, let me know.
Because we have roots. You and I go way back.
I just wanted to pull up the name out of respect.
I feel like those were the days.
The Shadow Man was Richard Hamilton.
Okay.
When I was younger, that was like one of the first like street art images that I remembered.
Who were your favorite artists?
My favorite artist?
Graffiti artists.
Graffiti.
Or any artist. Who did you like that was getting up in New York when you were
growing as a kid? I
Yeah.
mean, well, so
When you
obviously I
started.
remember Keith Haring because
Sure.
I used to go to the Village a lot. The Keith Haring mural that was in the Carmine pool, Leroy's pool.
What's the guy's name? That LA2? You know that guy? The guy who he was like
LA Rock.
Yeah.
I met LA Rock before, but he was from the Lower East Side, so I didn't really know his work. But Shadow Man, I remember seeing those. They were creepy to me when I was a kid, though. It wasn't like
they were scary.
it wasn't appealing to me. It was like more like, oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what is that? And let's just like paint on the wall.
What about like Sane Smith?
Sane is the one. Well,
He went to my high school, I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So Sane, the first blockbuster that I seen was Sane. I mentioned that in a documentary recently. Actually, they were like asking questions about the first things that we seen, and Sane was the first thing that I seen as a stomper. But Wolf One, and I believe I might be wrong, but I think that Wolf One was from Chelsea somewhere. But he was like one of my first influences as letter piecing style wise.
Okay.
Like that, like he was one of the first, because he was in every parking lot, like in Chelsea. And I'm pretty sure more than just in Chelsea, like in the Ville, like everywhere.
Do you feel at home in an apartment in these buildings? Like, is it nice to be back in here?
Chelsea is always gonna be I feel like it's home base, even though I don't live here. It's always gonna feel home base because I can walk out and I'll know people that I've known since I was a kid. Like I go outside, I know people in this building. I know people.
You see, they shut down McDonald's.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
They're knocking all that shit
that's
down.
why I used to do my birthday parties there when I was.
You remember how they had a little park?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. All right, this is really cool. I'm glad it took us like a year to do it.
Yeah, man.
I'm very glad you came through.
I'm happy to be sober. I'm happy that you're sober.
Me too.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, we're both being productive in life, you know.
Your work is sick. Isn't it crazy you thought I was dead?
Yeah, I'm happy that you're alive, man. No, I was really happy to see that you was alive. And then for you to say that you was sober too, like that really made my day. Like, you know, it's good to know other people who were messed up in life and they got it together, you know. You can't be a fuck up all your life.
You can be, but it's incredible that this happened.
Yeah.
It's incredible that we knew each other when we were all fucked up randomly, that you described me as perky yet cool, and then fucking whatever, 20 years later, we're still cool.
Yeah, man.
Well,
say no one day at a time.
All right. Optimo, thank you for coming through. This was amazing. So there it is. Say No, Optimo, classic Dopey story, finally getting told on the show from the horse's mouth. And then his story, which is even better. So and his work is incredible, and he is everywhere in Manhattan. And I think we are going to be doing a mural very, very soon. I'm very excited for that. Any kind of like, it's weird when it was like a different life. And yet sitting with him, I don't remember any conversation we had back in the day when I was using, but sitting with him, the vibe was right there. And he also came to DopeyCon, which was just the coolest. So let's give a huge thank you to Say No. And check out his stuff and check him out on Instagram at OptimoNYC. And you'll experience what he's doing. And yeah, this was I don't know. Every episode of Dopey is incredibly joyful, and it all you know, it hits me close. Hearing the voicemail from Sally hit me close. Hearing from Say No Optimo hit me even closer because it's part of my own story, and I love Graffiti, and I love just like I don't know. I'm an emotional person. I've been very emotional lately. Ever since that Jeremy Jackson Dopey Fitness Challenge, and I'm drinking like 40 ounces of water a day, and I'm peeing all fucking day. But I feel good. I think that the water is working. Are you guys drinking more water? Are you doing all that stuff? We got to get Jeremy Jackson back on to continue the Dopey Fitness Challenge. I have another voicemail I want to play before we go. It was about New Year's and Christmas and stuff. So this is Matt.
What's up, Dave, Dopey Nation? This is Matt in Vero Beach, Florida again. I sent a voicemail about a month ago or around Thanksgiving. I don't know if you played it or not. I've listened to every episode since, but I don't know. Maybe I missed it. But anywho, I have another one. I was just listening to the Brandon Novak story. And he was talking about, living in a trap in Baltimore on Christmas. And that reminded me of the week. It was actually probably 9 years ago to the day, just about. It was the week in between Christmas and New Year's. I had recently become homeless, and I was living in a basement apartment. It wasn't abandoned, but the upstairs was abandoned, but the basement apartment, the kid was renting it for like $300 a month from the owner of the building, and I was living there for free. I didn't have to pay $10 a night like Novak. It was in Troy, New York, and I'd walk to the bus stop and just find a random dealer and ask him to front me, and then I just wouldn't pay him. That's how I would get high for a while until I started seeing the dealers around. I wasn't from Troy, so, whatever. Burn as many bridges as I can. But I remember sitting out on the stoop the week leading up to Christmas and seeing people shopping with their families, and it gives me knots in my stomach even thinking about it. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm never gonna be like them. I'm gonna probably die in this situation. Anyway, so Christmas had just passed. I was pretty miserable, depressed. My family was living in Texas at the time, and I was living with my ex who had cheated on me, and, I got kicked out of her place, so I had to move to Troy. But me and this kid were both sick, and we were trying to figure out how we can get well. And it was cold out, and I remember he was like, this kid Ryan, he was like, yo, what about, Ryan, we have a bunch of, I have a bunch of these vitamin capsules, it's brown powder, I'm pretty sure it's water soluble. Why don't we just beat him, give him like half a gram of this stuff and trade him for like a bunch of benzos, and then we can sell the benzos in Troy or trade them to a dealer for real dope. And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea, but who's gonna do it? And he's like, you do it, because he knows where I live. He doesn't know that you live with me. I'm like, all right, so I'll meet him in an alleyway. So poor Ryan, bro, I still feel bad about this. He was on my amends list, but I think he had passed away. I can't find him on Facebook or anything. So we hit up Ryan. We're like, yo, meet us in Lansingburg in this alley, whatever. Like, we got a half gram. Would you trade? Like, I know he got a Xanax script. I'm like, will you trade, like 12 bars or whatever for, this half gram of dope we got? And he's like, yeah. So we're going there, and I meet up. He has a new truck. He came from money, but I'm like, all right. It was dark out too, which played in our favor, because even though this powder was brown, it still looked a little off. We had it double bagged in plastic wrap and double knotted, whatever. Like, it would have taken 10 minutes just to open it. So whatever. We did that strategically, and so I was like, all right. So I grabbed the Xanax and gave him the bag of dope, and he looked at it. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll see you later. Happy New Year. And I walked calmly around the corner of the alley, and John was standing there, the kid I was living with, and we booked it, ran as fast as we could back to the apartment. And on the way back, there was this old Volvo, and we were walking back to his apartment. We had popped a couple Xanax at this point, so I started getting the old Xanax blackouts, and I was like, man, what if we can't trade this stuff? We need to come up with something else just as a backup plan for tomorrow. Like, I'm sick, bro. Like, I cannot be sick another day. And I walk by this old Volvo, and I see it has like an Alpine radio in it. And this is like, what was it? It was probably like 2013, You know what I mean? Probably 2013. Yeah, winter of 2013, 9 years ago. And so, like, this is a very 90s thing to do. So, you know, I told John, I'm like, yo, I did this. Go into that Volvo and grab the radio. And I like did car. I know car audio pretty well. But he's like, yo, like, I don't know how to do that, this and that. I'm like, yo, go into the car, get the fucking radio. We'll go to a pawn shop. We'll sell it for like $40. We'll have enough for like to get well at least. You know what I mean? And we have benzos to stack on top of it. Like we'll feel good tomorrow. And he's like, all right. So I see the Volvo's doors were unlocked. It was like an old Volvo 240. And I see him get the radio, and he runs back to me, and it doesn't have the wire harness. He unclipped the wire harness from the back, so it's basically useless. And at that point, I'm pretty sure it's kind of spotty, but I'm pretty sure the owner came out of his apartment or whatever. So, and it had started snowing at this point. So, long story short, we ended up walking back to his house. The radio was useless because it didn't have the wire harness. There's no way for the pawn shop to test it. We had like $3 left. We stopped at a pizza place in Troy, split a piece of cheese pizza. And it sucked. Like, it was just a bad night. And I remember when New Year's came around, God, the pit in my stomach just thinking about it. Like, I just missed my family so much. And I had made a decision at that point that I needed to stop, like, or else this was going to end very badly for me. And I ended up going up to Maine to a homeless shelter up there, a dry shelter that put you in like a state-run treatment center or whatever. And that's how my last story that I sent in came about, kind of full circle, how I wound up in Maine. And how that whole situation, so obviously I didn't stay sober. But, you know, I've collected a couple years here and there. You know, I had 4 years, went out, got 2 years, went out briefly, but somehow I've managed to not become homeless again. I'm a homeowner. I have a beautiful daughter. I'm coming up on a year again, thank God. And this time I just need to continue to work a program. That's how I stay sober. Is I work a program. Like, without working a program, my behaviors get really shitty, and I'm not the most desirable person. And so yeah, but you know, let me get off my soapbox here. Quick shout out Fentanyl J. You know, big shout out Fentanyl J. Big shout out Austin and Axel and the Doposphere. Big shout out those guys, the goats, the Palm Beach Broward boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm Indian River now. Used to live in Palm Beach. Now I live in Indian River, you know, but shout out the Palm Beach Broward boys. You know, I don't really know Scott that well, but I know he lives in Pompano, Broward, you know what I mean? Big shout out everyone in Broward, Palm Beach, St. Lucie, Martin, Indian River County, the whole Treasure Coast and the Palm Beaches. You know what I mean? So, and shout out Dave and Toodles for Chris, man. Happy New Year, 2023. It's going to be a crazy year. I'm on drug court right now. I'm getting off drug court in a couple months. 2023 is the year, bro. 2022, not so hot. You know what I mean? 2022 was not so hot. I was on drug court all year. And now I'm getting off, and, you know, I'm working a program. I'm sponsoring guys, and life's good. My daughter's thriving. You know, I didn't lose my house. I didn't lose my job. I'm alive. I'm here, and I'm listening to Dopey. So life's good. Happy New Year.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for all those crazy Florida shout outs. And a nice shout out to Fentanyl J as well. I just got a nasty note about Fentanyl J. Too negative for me to even read. But thank you, Matthew. You won Dopey socks. Send me your address and I will send you a beautiful pair of Dopey socks. I'm realizing that the candles are so heavy. I don't think I want to ship them. I think that's going to be too expensive. Unless you're dying for a candle, you get Dopey socks. Same with you, Sally, if you're still listening. One last thing before we go. Our intern Claire had an idea for our website. We have I don't know if you guys know we have a website, but we have a website. It's dopeypodcast.com, which if you're older, it's www.dopeypodcast.com. And Claire had an idea to set up a part of the page that's called The Nation. And The Nation is all stuff from you guys. So there's music, there's art, there's stories. And if you submit stuff to Dopey Podcast at dopeypodcast@gmail.com, like you can be on the Nation on the page. So go to the website, check out the Nation. It looks pretty good. Shout out to Claire, and shout out to, of course, Howard Beach Bucksbaum, who put it together. And thank you, everybody. Thank you to the Facebook administrators, and thank you to fucking Cormac, wherever you are. If you're listening, are you out there sending a transmission? Do you receive transmission, Cormac? Thank you to the Birdman, who had me on his podcast, Drug Stories. Thank you, Birdman. Shout out to Dante from Detroit, not Dante Ross. I love Dante Ross, but it sounds like Dante Ross. Shout out to Dante Ross also, who might be coming on the show sometime soon. Shout out to everybody in the Dopey Nation. Shout out to my dad, who's somewhere in Florida listening to this. And he's going to Antarctica. We're going to have him call into the show before he travels to Antarctica, just in case. Just in case it's his final expedition. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris.